eternity, a light flowing down from the heavenlies, and we are here reaching out. The word of God is all we need. Who the sun sets free is free indeed. So God, please speak to me, reaching the next generation.
Well, greetings and welcome once again. I hope you're enjoying today's lesson with us as we share the Word of God. But I stopped in briefly to talk to you about something that could literally change your economic life and also be a catalyst in helping you and me and others change the lives of many around the world. You know, ministers all over the world are in need of support, in need of help, doing missionary work, doing evangelistic work out in the fields, and we're constantly hearing of needs that people that we are desiring people to help. But I've been looking at how we can help you, because I believe that if we can help you get debt free, then you will help the body of Christ, the men and women of God, minister the gospel. There's some links on the banner right on the screen, 2 of them to be exact. And I want you to go there and visit these 2 websites. I don't have the time to talk to you about everything that's in them, but they are changing people's lives financially. And I want to be your personal coach on your financial journey to direct and help you with attaining your financial goals. I know it can be done. There's proof of it, and if you take a look at this, you will know as well. I hope you'll do that, and then when you are in the programs and making the necessary income that you desire, I'm trusting that you will be more able to give and to help those that are still hungry, those that are in need. You know, Jerome Jones Ministries, Bible Teachers International, this work that we are doing is reaching around the world. And it is people like you that actually participate in it and help us. I want you to go to those links. One of them is about paying off all of your debt in 10 years or less. And we're talking about your mortgage, your car, your boat, your RV, whatever your debt is, to have it completely paid off in 10 years or less, and you don't have to do anything different than what you're doing as far as financially. You don't have to go get any monies. You don't have to make any changes to your contracts. You can take the same money and pay off your debt and save hundreds and thousands of dollars. Go to that link. You know, what would it be like if all the sons of God were debt free? Do you know many people that have their homes are paid for, their vehicles are paid for? Do you know many people like that? Think about what it would be like if all the sons of God had no debt. Let's change lives. And I believe that if you are blessed, you will be a blessing to us. So then there's a second link there that for $10, you can turn it into hundreds of dollars, and you'll be a part of a great Christian family. Go there and check those out, and then send me an email or call me or text me, and we'll be so happy to walk you through the entire process, because we know that it is a gift to have this opportunity to even speak with you and to be in a position to offer you such amazing programs that is helping literally hundreds and thousands all over the country. I want you to be the next one. And remember this, you won't be alone. I'll walk you through it and hold your hand until you can walk alone. I'm Bishop Jones. Let's go back into the service in Jesus' name. this with you. And guys, I am still trying to work out the situation with my introduction, but it is a good plug for the commercial work that we're uh, about the work that we're doing in feeding the hungry and providing um, real help to the many families that do not have food to eat. Um, we need your help to continue to support these families. Um, a year ago this time, I was there in Africa with the mission work that I did there, and we had firsthand um, opportunities to meet with many families that were in deep, deep poverty. And before we left there, we committed to helping a number of families. And it's not just in Liberia, but some of the families are in Uganda, some are in Kasai, some are in Gambia, Pakistan, India. And these families are in dire need of help. And so we're asking you to consider partnering with us to help those that are in such need. And that's what that commercial is about. And also check out the links that we talked to you about that will be of help to you as well. I don't know whether we actually had them on the screen, but this is Cooking with the Chef. And usually I don't even have those connected, but somehow I got this crossed up and I haven't been able to figure it out how to disconnect that and just assign it to the other broadcast. But today we're going to do something in the kitchen. And today we're going to cook our usual signature dish that's for the house all the time. That is chicken. But today we're going to do it fried. And so what I want you to notice here is that this is first of all, it's a very simple recipe. And you could make this in your own kitchen with things perhaps that you already have in your pantry. But this is a very tasteful chicken. Now I'm going to fry it today because since we have chicken every Sunday, we have to be diversified in the ways that we make it. Well, if you want a winner, this recipe of fried chicken can be done every single week. And, your guests and family will love it. Now, one of the things there's some things that I want to do on this session. I also want to remind you that when you're cooking or dealing with food, there's two basic principles that we want to always follow, basic rules. That is the SS rule. And the SS rule is safety and sanitation. There can be no substitutes for either of them. Safety, because knives cut, stoves get hot, ovens burn. You want to be practicing safe habits. Most things happen in the kitchen accidentally. No one goes in the kitchen looking to cut themselves, to burn themselves. No one goes in the kitchen looking to spill something hot over. But it happens. And 99% of what I know in my upbringing, the reasoning for it happening is because there's a lack of practicing of safety rules. Okay, like one in particular, people go to the sink and they'll wash something, and they'll put knives in the dish stream. And I've come many times, the knives are turned upward. Well, anything with a blade on it should be turned down. You don't turn it upward, because someone can be standing at the sink and they know the dish drain is there, and they can just reach their hand there, because the blade is turned up, they could be reaching for a fork or reaching for something else. But because that blade is turned up, it can slice there into their hand. So we practice safety by putting knives down. We practice another safety is that anything on the stove is potentially hot. So treat it as if it is hot. Approach it as if it is hot. It's better for you to approach it that way and it not be hot than for you not to approach it that way and all of a sudden you get burned. So these are just basic things. And one of the other rules is be mindful not to let people walk all behind you while you're dealing with hot stuff or knives, or because you can get bumped. There's so many ways that an accident can happen. So I want to make sure that we're getting those basic things in safety. The other area also is sanitation. This is a real pet peeve of mine. It simply means practicing clean hygiene. And if you are dealing with food, people are going to eat this food. So you have to be clean. It is so, so important. I know a lot of people don't take this serious, but I remember when I was a little kid growing up, and there was a family that we considered our own family. My family considered them our family. And so oftentimes we would take trips together. And on this occasion, we took a trip, and we had to drive all the way into Georgia from Florida. And when we on our way, we didn't have a lot of money back then. We were poor people, and still are, but times have changed. But we could only eat once, and what we ate had to be pretty much just a honey bun or something like that. And I had not eaten that on that way. The last thing I'd had was like 6, 8, 10 hours. And we had driven all the way into the place, and they were going to fix us something to eat. And as a little kid, when I got there, before we got there, we was going way out. And when we got to the house, immediately there was a foul odor. Now, if there's a foul odor, then whatever you prepare there is contaminated. It doesn't matter. It's contaminated. So we got in, and when we walked in, I could see, how the place just wasn't clean. And from that day to this one, my stomach turns anytime there is a preparation of food, and that food is not being prepared by someone that is practicing clean, safe food hygiene. So that's a practice that cannot be substituted. You just have to be clean. Being clean means having your clothing clean. It means having your hands clean. It means not putting your hands in your hair. It means not putting your hands in your mouth. It means not touching the food with raw food with your hands, and then touching cooked food with those same hands without washing them. Being clean means going to the sink time after time after time. Or it means having dishcloths and paper towels readily available so you can always keep your hands clean. There's so many nuances to just being clean in the kitchen. You have to be mindful of them because, for instance, when I touch this meat here, which I'm going to do, when I touch this meat, it is raw. If I put it down and now I've got some raw bacteria of this meat on my hand. If I take this and just the reason you see me with more than one towel, because one of them is for things like this, not both of them. Because when I touch this towel with this hand, if I don't clean this hand, it transfers that bacteria over on this hand. And you don't want to take that now cloth and use it to be involved with prepared food that is already that you have cooked, or you don't want to use it in wiping down surfaces that you're going to put cooked food on. So these are just things that we want to do to help educate you so you can be clean, because you may not see the germs, you may not see the foodborne illnesses, but they are real. And people have gotten deathly sick because of what came out of a kitchen. So when I'm cooking, I'm thinking about the people that are going to eat this, and I'm thinking that I have the great responsibility to make sure that they can eat this in peace, to make sure they can relax, make sure they can be comfortable. That's why when I'm cooking, in preparing food, I'm constantly mindful of my surroundings. I wouldn't come in here and cook and the kitchen is dirty, because it's going to be hard to get clean food out of a dirty kitchen. So it has to be clean. When it's not clean, they'll tell you here many times when the team is here, they'll tell you, says, if the kitchen is not clean, Bishop Jones won't go in it much. He's not going to prepare enough food. So what they have practiced here is keeping the kitchen clean. I came in last night and I sat Doc's plate down on the counter, and there was one over there, and it was just nothing but just a tray with her plate that was ordered, and there was one that I was sitting over there, and I went on upstairs. Well, when I got up this morning, Colleen has went through this entire kitchen to make sure that it is clean and prepared, so that I will want to come in and prepare the meal. Because if it's not clean, I can't walk in and try to prepare it. I'd have to wash everything in it. I'd have to wash the counters down. I have to make sure that the cloths are clean. I have to make sure all those things are done, and then I'm ready to start preparing the meal. So I don't want you to take that lightly. Sanitation is a serious problem in many, many kitchens, both in the private sector as well as in the commercial sector. So when you just practice that, if you're teaching your children, practice clean. And it starts with you. It starts with, I had to get up this morning. I went to sleep last night, and I had to get up this morning. But I couldn't just get up this morning and just stumble into the kitchen and irrespect to how I looked. I had to get up and fix myself up. I mean, I would want to just crawl out of bed and waltz on into the kitchen. No, because there are people in the house. See, you think that you might think that I do this just for the YouTube audience or Facebook audience. No, the people in this house will tell you that I do this when I am not streaming. It is important that the people in the house know that if Bishop Jones prepare something for us to eat, we don't have to worry about it. We know that it is one thing above all else, is clean. Now, it may not always taste like they want it to taste, but they're going to know it's clean because he's a clean freak. He's wiping counters, washing his hands. He gets aggravated when things around him get cluttered, and they just know. So when they sit down at the table, they don't be sitting there wondering, because if I have to do that, I can't eat. I just can't. And when I got to Georgia, I didn't eat nothing that whole 3 days while we were there. And I was so hungry, but I couldn't step across the stink, and I couldn't step across the dirty surroundings where the food was. And I'm not saying that, I'm not really indicting people that don't know any better. But my parents always instilled in us that clean don't cost you nothing but a little effort. That's all it costs you. Just take your time and wash and make sure you're clean, and make sure that what you're doing is clean. And so that's what I want to say to you. Now, I know you probably say, well, I thought you'd have been cooking the meal, but I am already cooking this meal. The meal starts cooking with sanitation and safety. So now that we've covered that, let me get my other stream up, and we're going to stream this in with two different strings, so that I can kind of have a backup in case I lose coverage. Now, the thing that I'm also going to say in his segment, let me get that right first. And I've got some things laid out here. Usually I like to get things laid out in an organized manner. So I'm going to go ahead and, no, that's not what I want there. I got the wrong one there. Okay, I don't want to connect it to the event. Nope. Let's see. I'm just going to go live there. I hope I get this right. I got to get someone to assist me in getting these my connections redone. Now, so I am ready to do this chicken, and I'm telling you now, if you are getting this on this broadcast, get this recipe down. There's 2 recipes that I want you to get today, and then we'll end this broadcast and I'll complete the meal. Now, you won't see me with the finished product of the chicken. So let me just tell you what you need to do. I'm going to walk you through what I am doing. You can do this at home. It's very easy. When you use seasonings, I use a combination of seasonings. I'm either going to use 1 or 2 sets of seasonings. The one set is, you can just use black pepper, seasoning salt, onion powder. That will make a good seasoning. The other one is, you can use regular salt, black pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder, and mix it all together. That's what this is. If you put like a cup of salt, a 1/4 cup of black pepper, and you put a 1/4 to a cup of garlic powder, and a 1/2 cup of onion powder and mix it all together. Then when you put your seasonings on your meat, you don't have to shake but one time. You don't have to use all 4 times doing this. So that's what I'm going to use today. I'm going to use this one today on this chicken. Now, the first thing we're going to do with our chicken, this is going to be fried chicken. I have a whole sheet of fried chicken wings here. So we're going to use this today. We're just going to fry these wings, and I'm not going to fry them now because we're only going to, this is for real dinner. This is not just a sample. This is for the house and the fellowship that is here every Sunday. So what we're going to do in season them, we're going to always lay your chicken on the back side when you're seasoning them. Start with the back side, which is that side right there, laid down. Don't season it with it like this at the beginning. You want the chicken to be laid on its back. So then you're gonna open it, get this seasoning, and always keep a towel handy, because anytime you touch meat, you want to get that particles off your hand before you touch this. Otherwise, these will get all greasy and slimy, and you don't want that. Now we're going to season this chicken, and let me see, can I make sure that we are in view here, because I want we're going to make a couple of recipes here, and these 2 recipes are delicious. So we're just going to season this, and this is what I mean when I say mix your seasonings together. You can mix this at home. That way you won't have to shake it but one time. And the other advantage here is that because the seasonings are all mixed in, you're getting an even amount of all of the ingredients, because then once you season that side, you just flip it over. So you're getting a even mixture all the way through of all the seasonings, and that's what makes the ultimate taste of your food to have the right flavor. That way you're not getting too much salt or too much onion powder, and you're not going to likely get too much onion powder. You may get too much salt, too much pepper, and too much garlic, but you're not going to get too much onion powder. Onion powder is a stimulant for all of the other. Now, you see how I just touched that meat? Let me just make sure now, both hands was on that meat. So what I'm going to do is I keep my paper towels, and before I pick up my seasoning again, because you don't want this to be on the container, because if it is, you're going to leave it there, and overnight that bacteria is going to grow and grow, and it becomes contaminated. So you put this here seasoning on. And see, once you do that, now you have seasoned your meat with all of your seasonings, and you don't have to have 4 different seasonings. You got them all. You got 4 seasonings in this one. So now that is done. Once I do that, when I finish something, I usually set it back out of the way so that I'll know that I've used it. Now, the other thing, when you're using pepper, there's a chance that you're going to sneeze. Always don't sneeze in your hand. Your hands are the sacred grails of kitchen preparation, for cooking. So you always use your shoulder, and you always step away from the food. I watch people in the kitchen and they have coughed or whatever, and they didn't move away from the food. They put their hands up to their face, and then they didn't even go to the sink to wash their hands. That is unsanitized. So you got to make sure that we got to keep this right. Now this is ready. Now what am I going to do? This chicken is going to go here. I'm going to put it in here. Now, just all of them. Now I said that we're going to fry this chicken today. This is how you make my southern fried chicken. Okay, this is how you make it. Now you won't need as much as I'm making here because we got quite a few people that be with us every week. We have a discipleship ministry going on around the dinner table every Sunday. And so that means I'm cooking for up to 20 people. So you won't need that. So I'll tell you the portion that you will need. Now, when I pick up food like that, I'm going to go to the sink now, wash my hands, and I will be right back. And you can follow me over here. After a while, I'm going to have a 3-camera setup. Now you get your hands clean again. Now what I'm going to do now is make the mixture because your chicken is going to actually be marinated. So what are we going to use to marinate it? Got a bowl here, and you're going to use 3 eggs. I'm going to use 4 because I got more. I could actually use 6 if I wanted to. Crack your eggs. Now, if you're not good at cracking the eggs, crack them in a separate container first to make sure you don't get none of the shells. You don't want shells in them. See, I got all those 4 without getting the shells, and sometimes I even get some shells. Now, what you're going to do is get about a 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of water. I got my water right here, so I'm going to use a cup of water since I'm using a lot. Let's see if that, and I kind of measure stuff, when you're trying to teach people how to do something, you want to try to give them the best possible chance at getting it right. So now what else we're going to use in that? You're going to use about 7 to 8 ounces of Louisiana or Crystal hot sauce. I'm going to use about 10 to 12 ounces since I'm cooking more. But you're going to put this hot sauce, like I said, I'm going to use about 12 ounces, but you would use 7 to 8 ounces. Louisiana or Crystal or Frank's, but I try to make sure that you have the right ingredients so that you can get the right results. So we're putting this hot sauce with eggs and water. That's all we're putting in this. That's that. Now I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to mix that up really good. And you could have scrambled the eggs up before I put all the other things in it. That would be the better way to do it, because once you put your other liquids in it, the egg yolks kind of keep moving around, and you have to, do a lot more mixture to get them scrambled. But you scramble this up, you can mix this up really good. This is nothing but hot sauce, water, and eggs. And it's not going to make your chicken spicy, and it's not going to make it hot, okay? But it's going to make it oh so good. You won't have a lot of this left. So now that we have this here, and you could do this way even if you don't fry it. You can actually bake it this way too, but I'm frying it. And now when you do that, you're going to take it and you're going to pour it right into this chicken. Now we have this here in the chicken, and what you want to do now, you want to make sure that it goes all the way down and all the chicken gets into that sauce. Now people have asked, well, if you're going to put it in there like that, why would you season it first? Well, that's just a process. Once you season your chicken, then you get your marinated sauce poured over it. And, I'm going to press it down until this chicken gets submerged into the sauce. Now, once you do that, again, the next thing that you do, you always keep in your mind sanitation, safety. So that's looking pretty good there. Pretty good. Now, once you do that, you go to the sink and you clean your hands. Don't touch the rags or nothing. Go to the sink, clean your hands, and then come back. One of the things and once you do that, now you can dry them off. But one of the things about sanitation in the kitchen is that you could eat something today that doesn't manifest a foodborne illness until 8 to 12, hours, 24 hours later. And this is one of the things that causes people to be kind of like ignorant to what is happening with their health and identifying where they got sick from. So once you do this here, you're going to put aluminum foil over this, and then you're going to set this in the refrigerator and let it sit. Now you want to do it let it sit for about an hour, half hour, 30 minutes to an hour. Sometimes I do it overnight, but I'm going to set it in the refrigerator. After I get out of church today, I will come in and I will drop it into the grease and fry it. Now to fry it, you're going to get some all-purpose flour, and you're going to put some little seasoning salt in it and a little bit of cayenne pepper. And you can add a little black pepper. And that's all. You don't have to put a lot in it because, again, we got seasonings in here. And that is, and trust me when I tell you, it's not going to make your chicken hot. A lot of times when I tell people this, they say, oh, that's going to be spicy. I don't like spicy food. You won't even know it's there. You will not know it's there in the name of being spicy or hot, but you will know it's there by the flavor that you're getting. Okay, so let's make sure of that. So now let me get my aluminum foil. Usually I try to get most of these things out. So now this will go in the refrigerator, and it will sit until I come back from church. Now, I also like to practice kind of making sure that I kind of keep my area clean as I go. This is a cutting board that was used for chicken. So once I use a cutting board for a meat, I don't use it for anything else until I get it clean. I have watched people take the same cutting board and use it for different meats, and that's called cross-contamination. When you use the cutting board for any raw meat, now you can do it with meat that's already cooked, but if the meat that you used on this cutting board was raw, before you use this cutting board for anything else that is not going into the same meat, you need to clean the cutting board. That's why I got two cutting boards here, but I'm just using the one right now. So I'm going to take this one and we're going to get it to the sink and get it clean. And then we're going to be off to the next area. And the next area we're going to do is going to be a bit interesting for you. And you can take this recipe that I'm going to give you, and you can make it also in your own home. That's what these are for. These recipes that I'm giving you is so that you will be able to make a dish, that you will be able to make a dish at home that will be very, very tasteful. So now I'm going to get my other cutting board, and I'm going to use this one, even though I got that one over there, but I usually let them air dry. On a cutting board, you don't take a cloth and wipe it down. No, you let it air dry. If you wipe it down, you could be spreading more bacteria on it, so let it just air dry. You will pick up a lot of different things here. Now, what are we going to do now? Let's see, time is significant. What I'm going to do now is, and I'm going to go ahead and make this, but I'm doing this as we go. Sometimes it may appear that I have it all laid out, and I do have portions of it laid out, but I'm actually making decisions as I go. And I'm doing that basically because I pretty much know the process that I need to take. When you're starting to do things and you want to add some organization to it where it makes it easier for you, you want to lay things out, in the order that you need to do them in. And then you follow that order. That'll keep you organized, and it'll keep you moving toward the end product. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is make some fried cabbage with bacon, sausage, and shrimp. Now, this is a dish that they have not had here in this house, and I've never fixed it here either. I never prepared it. but it's a dish that has good flavor, and gonna have a little Cajun spice to it. Uh, but it's gonna make the table special, and so they're gonna be surprised of it today. And you said, well, you've not served it here. Well, when you understand the principles behind cooking, and you know the formulation of recipes, you know what tastes good. And this, my friend, tastes good. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up 2 cabbage. Now you wouldn't need 2 of them, but I'm going to go ahead and cut up my vegetables first. And the reason I like to cut my vegetables up first on the cutting board, because the next thing because I don't want to cut, I'm going to cut the meat up last. So I got my 2 cabbages here. And this could have, I'm going to do some green beans also, but this could actually serve as the vegetable. But it can also serve as a whole meal because it's going to have quite a bit of sausage and bacon and shrimp in it. So in cutting my cabbages, I just cut them in half, and then I cut them in half again. That's called quartering. And in buying cabbage, you want to always, or any green leaf vegetable, you want to make sure that the leaves on it are healthy, and that you buy them from a place that washes their vegetables. When you spend as much time in the kitchen as I do, and as much time in the kitchen as I have, you learn how little things can make your job so much easier. Just paying attention to little things. And so that's one of them. So when I walk in a store, they got a spray system over their vegetables where they're washing them. I love that. If I walk in the store and the vegetables has got water on them, and I love that. You know why? Because people like me go into the store and they touch vegetables. You know that? They touch them, they pick them up, and they're not there washing their hands, and they're not using gloves, and and so they're transferring bacteria. They're transferring bacteria that can be harmful to the body. So now once I do that, I'm just going to chop these up. So if they're transferring that bacteria, when that water comes on, that water sanitizes those vegetables. See? And I love that. So I look for that when I go in the store. So you want to cut your cabbage up. They don't have to be really small, just as you see me doing. Now, some in the house may not like Cajun, but the majority of them will. And I won't put too much Cajun in it because of that very fact. I'll just kind of spice it. And another way I was thinking about just cooking it without Cajun and just setting the Cajun seasoning on the table and letting people season it that way. And that may suffice in part. It won't give it the flavor as it would if you cook the Cajun in it. Nothing does. When you have to put salt and pepper on food to season it, it may give you a taste of the seasoning, but it will never be as it would be if you cook it with the salt and pepper in the food. Okay. And the reason is that it don't have it by putting it on it, sprinkling it on it, it doesn't get the chance to saturate and the heat to cook and to be there. So now I've got these cabbages, got them cut up. And I'm going to get myself, and I'm going to dump those in here. And now we're going to cut up some bell pepper, onion, and I didn't do that. I forgot something. Let me go do it now. Anytime when you're cooking with onions, and it's not going to work right now because I should have done this earlier, but I'm going to do it for a little bit anyway. When you're doing your onions, if you're going to be using onions, you want to peel the onion. And then you want to cut it in half. I'm going to need about 2 because these are not really big. Now remember, I'm cooking for a lot of people. You won't be cooking for this many. So once I peel these onions, I'm going to when you were in the kitchen, when I worked in the kitchen, I'd be sitting there doing onions, and people would wonder, you just cut those onions like nothing. You just keep cutting them up. But every time they get them and start cutting onions, they're crying, they're backing away, they're rubbing their eyes, they're doing all that, and I'm just standing there. And this is why. You cut it, peel them, cut them in half, put them in the freezer for about 30 minutes before you're ready to use them. And there are other methods that people will tell you about, but this one is the best one so far. I've been in the kitchen since I was a little boy. I'm 67 years old now. Okay, just think. And I've tried a lot of things. I've worked in the kitchens. I've had my own bakery. I ship pies and biscuits and cakes to 47 cities in the state of Florida. I had hotels and restaurants had our products. I've had my own barbecue restaurants. I've had, the opportunity to just get a wealth of experience. And I worked alongside some tremendous chefs, and some tremendous cooks. And so you amass a lot of experience. And nowhere I've been had a better solution for cutting onions than what I just told you. Cut them in half, put them in your freezer for 30 minutes or so. And then when you start cutting them, you don't have to worry about the eyes stinging and crying and all that. People think you are a master at that, and you will be. You will be, because you solved a problem that you solved the thing that causes people problems, so that they no longer have that problem. See? So now I'm going to get this here again done, cleaned off, and I've got to get a whole new bag. So I'm not doing nothing in the oven today, except I'm going to bake some biscuits later, so we don't have to use the oven. So I'm going to get all of this here done. Again, keeping your areas clean is so vital to your mentality. When you're doing something, if you got a dirty and clustered environment, your mentality is going to be that as well. So now, what are we going to do now? I need the cutting board. And so now we're going to cut up the bell peppers. I'm going to start with 1, 1, and 1. And these are going to be cut Juliana style. So you're just splitting them down the middle, taking the core out. And now we're going to just slice them long ways. And by long ways, I mean just like that. That's how we're going to slice them. I'm going to throw them right on over the cabbage as well, because I'm cutting down these up so that when I get the meats ready, the vegetables will already be ready to go in the pan. And I'm going to have to use a pot to cook these in, looks like, because that is more than a normal family. So I'm going to use a big pot to cook these in, so that they have enough room to kind of spread out. I don't want them sitting so much too deep on top of each other. So I'm going to use a very large pot for mine. You could cook yours in a large frying pan, saucepan. You can cook it in that. It doesn't take this long, but you'll need something that you can put a tight lid on it. You don't want to have it cook open. You want to make sure you get a tight lid on it. So I put we're using these bell peppers. You want to make sure you use some with color, like a red or gold. You want to make it look colorful. Now we have our bell pepper and cabbage in here. And I don't know if that's quite enough, but I think that'll do it. Now we got to get our onion to put in there, and I'm not going to do the onion because they haven't been in the refrigerator yet, and I don't need them right now. So we're going to get this here ready now, and we're going to cut up the meats. And we're going to set this aside. And we're going to cut up the meat. And let me just pull out the pot that we're going to use. We're going to use this large pot here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start with this bacon. Now you can make this here at home, and you can actually make this really quick. Okay, this doesn't take long. You know, you can make this really, really quick. And people that don't know any better will think you've been cooking a long time. But I want to say that when you're making something good, you know, it takes time. But you have to take some time. Now you're going to cut this bacon in small pieces. Again, you know, you will use as much as you see me using. It's based on the number of people that's going to be at the setting. But but if you want, and it's based on how much meat you want in it. You know, and as I said earlier, this could actually be the whole meal. You can make this for the whole meal. You can cook it in a way where you can get some steamed rice, and you got a full plate because you got your vegetables and you got your meat. And cutting it up in these small pieces almost ensures that there's going to be some meat in every spoon, every fork. And this bacon will be releasing a great flavor into your vegetables. Now, when you're cutting bacon, remember I talked about safety? Bacon slides. It's got grease in it. So you have to pay attention to your cutting and always keep your fingers turned this way. let the knife lay here. Don't have your hands out this way, but keep them turned here so that when I cut down, it'll never chop my finger. Okay? So when you get where your fingers can't turn, you have to stop. Now we got this here, and we're going to put this right in the pot. I'm going to set this over here for the moment. And now we're going to get out. I just touched that with this hand, so I want to get this off my hand again. And now I want to get some andouille sausage. Andouille sausage. And I'm going to put them, I'm going to cut these up. So you can see it's going to be a lot of meat in here. This is not going to be something that you can just have a piece of meat every now and then. This actually can be the full meal, and this will, in this home, we're going to have enough of this to eat a second time. That's what I normally do when I'm cooking. So I'm going to get rid of this. Now what you want to do is go rinse the sausage off. And now I'm going to cut them in like slicing them. About a 1/2 inch apart. Now these sausages are hot. I don't care for them that much by themselves. There are a lot of people love them. I'm not that one for too many real spicy sausages or, you know, a lot of things. Not in sausage. I like spice with buffalo wings and things like that. I'm going to do a spicy shrimp with sriracha sauce. That sriracha sauce is a hot and spicy sauce. We're going to be making some sweet and sour dishes. See, now this is all meat that's going into this fried cabbage. And that's quite a bit of meat, to tell you the truth. This is quite a bit of meat, and we're going to put this in this cabbage. But we got to get it right first. This is going to be a very delightful dish. Even though they've never had it here, I've never made it. But they're going to think that I did something special. And your family would think you did something special too. Now, what I'm going to do for those of us that will come back to the site in March, by the grace of God, these recipes are going to be put on my YouTube channel. They're being streamed on both channels, Cooking with the Chef now, but they're going to be put on there, and they're going to also be translated into a scriptural lesson, so that this sausage would be a passage of scripture. The bacon would be a passage of scripture. The cabbage, a passage of scripture. The paprika, the lemon juice, all of that going to be a passage of scripture, and it's those scriptures together is going to make a complete spiritual meal. And so when you have this dish, you're going to think about that lesson, and that just, so now we got this here. We're going to put this in the pot too. And what we're going to do here is we're going to cook that, turn this on. And I like to put a little, even though there's oil in this bacon, I like to cook with a little virgin olive oil. So I'm going to pour just about a tablespoon of olive oil in here. That just makes it good. And so I've got it turned on, and that's going to cook. Now, what do we need to, where are we so far? So far, we have our southern fried chicken being marinated in some hot sauce, water, and eggs. We've already seasoned it with salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. And now we've got our cabbage, our bell pepper cut up, and we got our sausage and our bacon cut up, and we got it on the stove. We still got to cut up our onions, and we got to get our, once this is sauteed, we're going to take it out, and then we're going to saute our shrimp. Okay, and then we're going to set the sausages and the shrimp, all of that's going to be set aside in a bowl while we saute and our cabbage and onions and bell pepper, and once we get those ready, we're going to dump all of that other in, and we're going to season it with some additional seasoning, some all-purpose seasoning you can put with it. You can put some smoked paprika that we will use, and some more black pepper. We're going to season the shrimp starting out with, we're going to season them with some lemon juice and some, we're going to put some Cajun seasoning, lemon juice, and paprika, and cooking that shrimp. Let's see. Good morning, Kashif. It's been a while since I've seen you, son. Well, I've seen you, but good to see you this morning. Happy New Year to you. Sometimes I can't get all of this vision here, but I can happen to see that there's not many Kashifs around, so it's kind of, that's an identifying name. So now I got my bacon, and I have my sausage cooking, and we're just gonna let that get cooked and cook it down. And as it do, we're going to sometimes when people get these sausages, the way it is today, people try to buy the sausage already cut up and already cooked, but I don't use those, because when you cut the meat up, if you don't use it right away, you will lose some of its original flavor. Okay, So if you just cut this meat up, like I was in the store yesterday and they had these sausages already cut up, packaged up in a package. Well, I wouldn't get those even though it was easier, but the flavor, some of the flavor would have been lost because when you cut that meat, some flavor will escape, some of the juices will escape, and even the air that it is exposed to will siphon out some of that flavor, some of that juice. So I kind of want the whole sausage and then I cut it up. And I'm going to cook those and let those get good and cooked. You want your sausages to be done and, your bacon nice and done. You don't want any of that half cooked. So you put it in your pan and you just keep cooking it and you're stirring it. And because I got an unusually large amount, then I've got to be very mindful to keep stirring it and make sure that all pieces is cooked. Now, one of the things that can help you with when you're cooking, especially sausage, is putting a lid on it. When you put a lid on it, the steam itself will cook it. So even if you don't turn it on every side, it may not brown, but it will be done. And that's the priority, is to make sure the meat is cooked and is cooked fully. So when you put a lid on it, the steam that normally would come out of the lid, out of the pot, because it has a lid, that steam has nowhere to go. So once the steam hit the top, it just keeps making its way back down to the meat. See, it comes up to the top, has nowhere to go, and then it just starts going back down. Well, you know what? The flavor is in that steam. How do you know that? That's the only reason you could smell it. The flavor is in that steam. Now, what I'm doing here right now, we have someone in a room quite a ways this way. We have someone else sleeping in a room quite a ways that way. There's someone sleeping in a room upstairs, okay? But what I'm doing right here is going to go all over this house. They will smell it in that room there. They will smell it upstairs. They will smell it there. That's the aroma that is created when you are cooking it. And so that steam gets out. The flavor is in that steam and you smell that. See, now that's a good spiritual lesson right there. Because just like that flavor goes all over the house, the aroma that comes from us as children of God should flavorize everywhere we go. That's a good lesson right there. And when you come to that person and take the lid off, you ought to smell something cooking that's really, really good. So I'm going to let that cook I want it to get really, really nice and get that ready because actually I'm not really behind. I've got once I do this, there's not much else I can do. The chicken is going to be fried, but I am going to make the chicken batter. I like to make the chicken batter so that when I get out of church, I don't have to do anything but come in and drop the chicken into the oil and fry it. And on the day of all days, I pick fried chicken. And and I'm a football fan of the Miami Dolphins, and they playing today, and they'll be playing when I get out of church. And so normally I started just put the chicken in the oven and said, hey, let me just throw it in the oven. It'll already be done when I get home. I won't have to stand in here and cook it and miss the game and all that kind of stuff, because I told Doc yesterday, I said, look, I'm going to catch the game today. And, but I thought about it. I said, this is important. And, and we get chicken every week, but, I can make it special. And so since I can make it special, I'm going to make it special. I don't want them to come in. This meal today, they're going to get something today that they've never had me fix for them. And, so I told Doc, I said, Doc, I'm not going to be with you tomorrow. I'm going to sit down and watch. I'm going to sit down and watch the game. And she said, all right, that's okay. But I thought about it, and I thought about how good God has been and how good God is. And I thought about the effect of having a special meal and stuff like that in the fellowship that we have around the table. And I said, nah, I'm not going to just give them this baked chicken again, because we're going to do chicken every week. But, I got different ways I can make that chicken to that you'll say, oh my, I can eat that every day. So I'm going to do the fried chicken, even though I got to miss the Dolphin game. And I'm doing fried cabbage with bacon, andouille sausage, and shrimp. That's going to be a real tasteful dish. So, oh, Daniel, hey there, Bishop, how you doing? Miss you guys. We don't get to talk. We don't get to fellowship. How's our DJ doing? I've been seeing him online, so I know he's all right. And Shanice, you just took Shanice away from us. You just took her. Come on, Daniel. You guys are blessed. So we're stirring this here. We're stirring this so that we get this done. And this is going to be some and when you got a lot of meat, a lot of bacon, your bacon, and when you do cover it now, one of the things that you got to know when you're covering it with a lid, it's not going to cook crispy like it would if it wasn't covered, because all that steam is staying there. But it's going to get good and done, and that's the thing, and it's going to keep a lot of the flavor in it. So I have here cabbage and our bell pepper, both the green, the red, and the gold. I'm gonna go get my onions now. I've had them in the freezer so that when we start cutting them, we don't have to worry about crying and all that stuff. So let's go get them. And so we're going to cut up these onions, and we can basically cut them up the same way. They don't have to be really small. So what I do is just cut them down long one way. And then if I want to, I'll just turn it around and cut them right down the middle. And that's enough. You know, so that we can have these onions ready. See, if you didn't have them in the freezer, they would be shooting out a lot of stinging juice that makes you cry and burn your eyes. But because you put it in the freezer, it kills that effect. And you can just stand there and cut them like nothing. And that's all I need to do with that, see? Now we're getting there now. This is getting done. So now we got the onions. We're going to put them right in our put them with our veggies. And kind of mix them all in there. And you're going to see what these are like. So we're going to go ahead and put those on, let those cook a little bit longer. Put that right there. And after we finish those cooking, we're going to take the meat out of there, and we're going to leave that on, and then we're going to saute our shrimp. So let's see. I'll just I'll just use a regular plate for right now to put that meat on. Because you want your meat to get done. Now, the point of notice is that the meat probably is done. What I'm trying to do now is just get it a little bit brown, because that steam cooks really, really quick. So I'm not worried about the meat being done now. I just want to get some color to it, because it's done. At least the sausage is done. Yep, this is gonna have, we have to take this out now. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to take this meat out. See, this is just straight old home cooking. Not trying to be fancy, just because, you know, if you're in your house cooking, you're not trying to be all fancy. You're going for the results of and the quality of the taste. Now I will dump some of this grease out, because I'm cooking a lot. So I'm going to take some of the grease out of this. Just put it in a bowl. This is good for seasoning. Now, this is going to get ready to go back on the fire. In just a moment. This is your plate of sausage and bacon. So what is the next thing that we need to do? Now that you've got your sausage and your bacon cooked, you want to get your shrimp. And I'm going to use 2 bags, I think. I may not use 2. This is a family bag. But I'm using the tail off. shrimp. And these are the extra small ones. I don't always use them. But I'm going to use 2 bags of them just so that we have 2 family size bags, 24 ounces in a bag. So that's 3 pounds of shrimp. That's going to be quite a bit of shrimp too, as well as. And then we're going to season that with some lemon. We'll season it with some lemon juice. And some Cajun seasoning. And some paprika. Again, I'm using a lot. I got a lot more than you would do at home unless you was doing a big party. But you just season like you would season it for your plate of food on the table. And we're going to turn this back up on medium, just above medium heat. And we're going to let that saute a bit. Get all that seasoning off of there. I wanted to stay in the pan. I want that to just saute just a little bit. And as we saute that, then we're going to put that aside. And then we're going to put our vegetables in and we're going to saute them. And well, that should be getting hot. I thought it would have been hotter than that. But you set your meat aside. And you got the other part of this is you're gonna, once you get your shrimp sauteed, you take them out of the pan, and then you dump your vegetables in, and you get them cooked over medium to high heat. Um, and you um, get them cooked down um, about 15-20 minutes with the lid on. And then you should be able to season them with your uh, seasonings. And you're only going to put 3 different seasonings: some more ground black pepper. You're going to put some all-purpose seasoning, and maybe a little bit more paprika. But this should have some really good seasoning in it. And so what I'm going to do is go here. While I'm waiting on that, I don't have nothing else that I can do until that gets ready. But then that doesn't take long. Let me see here just a second. I'm surprised that my pan got that cold. That shrimp don't take but about 5-6 minutes. Okay, it's nice getting there. Trying to answer my messages. And this is getting ready.
So the other day I made like the best southern fried cabbage. So make sure y'all have it done. First I chopped up and then I cooked down some bacon with the skillet. Then I removed the bacon from the skillet in that same spot and added some sliced up bacon with the sausage. I just got it. I took out some bacon from the skillet. Next I added some pepper. So take that for a few minutes. Chop that up. After about 10 minutes, stuff to look like that. You can see this all-purpose black pepper. Add the sauce to the back. That's what I every single
Now we're going to take our shrimp out. little light on the Cajun, and that's just because everybody may not like it, like Cajun, but everybody can eat a little bit of Cajun. This is quite a bit of shrimp in this. So this is not just, this can be actually a full meal. Now we're going to leave these cabbage, this juice in here, and we're going to put our vegetables right in here and cover it up. Okay, now we're just going to dump these in. See, we're not gonna get rid of none of that juice. Now, I want to stir that around a little bit so that it gets some of the flavor of the juice up into the cabbage, you know. Now, we still got to season this with some black pepper and all-purpose and Cajun. So we're gonna still got some more seasoning to go, but there's a lot of seasoning already in that bacon and sausage grease from cooking the meat. See, now I see that this is all getting all saturated, getting those vegetables in that meat. You can tell that the vegetables are getting in that meat because you can actually see it. You can see it. Now put it back on the stove and put a lid on it. So in about 15 minutes or so, we're going to add all of this here to it. We can just put this here in here together. See, now we got a lot of meat here. See, that's a lot of meat in that. That's all. This is a over half pan, a bowl here with nothing but meat that's going into your fried cabbage. Just a lot of shrimp, bacon, and andouille sausage. Now, you keep your eyes on this, and we keep stirring it. And I will be back in 2 minutes. Okay, guys, we are about ready to take a look at this pot again. I'm going to stir these up. Now, you wouldn't put yours in a big pot. You would be actually using a probably regular frying pan, skillet, or saucepan, something smaller. I want to put a little of the more seasoning in that. So we're going to throw some seasoning blend. This is a seasoning blend that will just be, it's like a neutral. And I'm going to add some more of this later when I get the So this is going to be a delightful dish that will be something a bit special. I'm curious to see how this tastes. And I'm not going to cook it all the way now. I'm going to put this in it, let it sit in it until I come in, because I'll have plenty of time to finish cooking it. Because remember, this is for when we come out. So once you let it cook for a few minutes, you take this is the shrimp, andouille sausage, and bacon. And in the pot, I have the cabbage, bell peppers, and onion. And we've seasoned it. And now we're going to throw this in the pot. So that means we have a pot full So I've got, this pot is about half full, because again, I'm cooking for quite a few. But I'm not going to finish doing this here. I'm going to just let this sit now until we come home from church. And once we come home from church, we're going to fry the chicken, and we're going to be able to see it. Now, just to take a look at what this looks like, let's see if I can do this. You know, I'm not that good at, but that's that chicken, not chicken, but that's the, we have our, cabbage, bell peppers, sausage, we got shrimp here, and we got cut up bacon, and it's been cooking. You can see how that is, but I still got to put some all-purpose seasoning, and I got to put some more ground black pepper and some paprika, and this is going to be a delightful dish. It's not something that they've had from me since I've been with them. So I'm going to go ahead and and I like to put some onion powder in it as well. You're not going to go wrong with onion powder. You can season this to your taste. This is a seafood seasoning blend, so it'll be good for your shrimp. And some black pepper. We're gonna put a little of that in it that it needs. Mix all of this up really good. Now, I didn't put any water in this, so it only has the juices from the bacon, you know, and the sausage. It has no other liquids in it. And if you want to add some liquids, which I could, but I'm not, the thing to add then would be chicken broth. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to set the lid on this. Now this part is done until I get out of church, and then I turn it on and just let it cook for about 10 minutes, and it's ready to go on the table and be served. So with that now being done, let me go get my chicken and show you that. Now on this chicken, again, it's covered with aluminum, and it is marinating in my homemade marinating sauce. And to make the sauce, all you need is water, eggs, and hot sauce. That's all you need. Water, eggs, and hot sauce. You could make 3 eggs, 7 to 8 ounces of Crystal or Louisiana hot sauce, and a half cup of water. And that'll be enough for you to make it. And then season your chicken with whatever seasoning you want. I use 4 things. I use salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and I mix it all together, you know, and that's a good way to make sure you get it evenly all over, and you don't have to use but one container to sprinkle all of them. So I put a cup of salt, a half cup of onion powder, 1/4 cup of garlic powder, and 1/4 cup of pepper. Mix all that together, and that's your seasoning. Okay. If you don't have that, just use seasoning salt and black pepper. You know, you'll be fine there. But that other mixture will take it up a level or so. Okay. So now once I got this, I'm going to just make sure that this meat gets back down in the juice, because I want this to stay in the marinating sauce until I'm ready to fry it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just pushing it back down, making sure that it's getting good and marinated. Now you're touching raw meat, so I got to clean my hands. So once you do that, you cover it back. I'm going to put the aluminum foil back on it and put it back in the refrigerator, where it will stay now until I come home from church. and then I'll fry it. So I'm going to see if I've got, I don't know if I've got any on that. Okay, now that I've got that, let me get this out of the way. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to cut up a couple of slices of bacon. About 3 slices of bacon. And we're going to get this cut up so that we can put it in our green beans. I'm cooking a number 10 can of green beans. So I wanted to flavor it. And if I'd have thought, I still might, I got some bacon grease already over here in a bowl that I could also use. So we're going to take that bacon and put it in here and put a little of this bacon grease in it. And we're going to let this here, let that fry down a little bit. We turn it up. Well, I'll put it back over here. And that'll cook out. Once that cooks, I'm just going to put the green beans in it, season it with some salt, pepper, onion powder, and season it with some, put a little sugar in it, and maybe a little beef chicken broth. And then that will simmer. Don't need to do much else to that, just changing the flavor. Okay, now. Now we're going to get, let me put that in there. So now we have the fried cabbage done. We have our chicken being marinated. And so we're preparing to do our green beans, and after that we're going to make the batter for our fried chicken so that the batter for it will be ready, when I get out of church. So those are cooking pretty good. So, good morning, Abasi. So now what I want to do here, I got my chicken broth here. And I'll be ready for that. So you can make this meal, and I'm doing a number of things. This is, this is more of a tutorial type, and I'm just doing a number of things in this one session. But if I were just doing the fried chicken, then that would have been done long ago. If I was just doing the fried cabbage, with shrimp, that would have been done. I'm doing a multitude of different things, and therefore it is a bit longer because we are in the infant stages of getting this platform fully established and fully organized. So I've got this bacon cooking now for my green beans. I've got my fried cabbage over here. I've got my chicken being marinated in the sauce. And then next I'm going to make my chicken batter. Now I'm going to turn my bacon down and let it just cook there. And I'm going to get my container to make my chicken batter in. Now, the chicken batter is simple. You're just going to put all-purpose flour, and we're going to put a little seasoned salt, paprika, onion powder, cayenne pepper. You don't have to do this all the time. I just do it because anytime you got a meat that you are frying, or baking for that matter, the liquids that touches it will cause it to lose a certain percentage of its seasoning. So if you're frying it and you put just a touch of seasoning in the batter, that simply offsets that and replaces it back to the flavor that you're looking for. So now this bacon is cooking over here. I'm going to let that cook. I'm going to get my flour. Well, the nightmare that you don't want to run into is going to look for something to find that it's not there. So that's a setback right there because I don't have any flour. And had I known that the last of the flour was used, I would have made sure that we had some. That's one of the principles that I've employed all the way through, is that if I use the last of something and there's someone else in the house that uses those things, I always try to leave a note or say to them, we have no more flour, or the flour is getting low. That's a practice that will save us a lot of disappointment, because now in the middle of this meal, I can't make the batter because I have nothing to make. I don't have ingredients. So that means I'm going to have to go by the store, get the flour, and come in and make the batter, which is not going to take a long time, but it's those little things that can just, that if you don't plan for them, you won't know that. Just to give you a good illustration, what if I were not going to make the batter now? Had I not said that I'm about to make the batter, I would not have known that I didn't have any flour, see, until I got back from church, ready to make the batter to fry the chicken, and would have found out there's nothing to make the batter with. So I'd have had to leave here, go back to the store, and by that time, everybody would have been here sitting around waiting for dinner, and it would not have been ready. So that's the reason communication is important. That's the reason for that, so that we don't run into that situation, because someone may say, well, it's no big deal. It is a big deal. It is a big deal, because if we practice those habits, they balloon into other areas of our life. So that's a lesson that we're going to have to teach. Right now that I'm going to take my green beans, and I got them right here, and I'm just going to put this into the pot. That's all I need to do. I've already drained them. And so now I'm going to put my seasonings in, and I'm going to use regular salt this time. And see, we don't have any salt either. You know, we don't have any salt. Now that's something as simple as that. You know, this is nothing. I got. If I had to use salt for this instead of seasoning salt, we would be really in trouble. See, there's no more salt. So where's our pepper? Where's our sugar? And we're going to put that back over here on the fire. Get us pick up some butter. We have to communicate, because that's a major issue. So if you're in the kitchen and you're using, when you're in the kitchen and you're using things you have to communicate when you use the last of it so that it can be replaced. All this butter is just about gone. See? And I should have known that yesterday so that while I was at the store, I picked up the salt, picked up the flour, and picked up the butter. See, that's how important those things are. Now on your veggies, depending on which ones you have, but basically all of them can use chicken broth. So we're going to put about a cup of chicken broth in here. And that's all we need with that. I'll get a little touch of hot sauce on them. Sometimes I put a jalapeno pepper, slice it up and put it in. Not going to do that this time. Just going to put a little, about a touch of hot sauce, just a little bit. And now my green beans will sit here. They're just, they'll work their way till they'll be ready for us to eat. My cabbage is ready. My green beans is ready. Now the next thing to do is to get our rice ready. I got that already portioned out there. We're going to cook the rice in a rice cooker. And then I'll be pretty much ready to do the biscuits. So I'm going to save this. This is going to be what I use for my batter. And if I'm looking at this right, it's about 8 o'clock. Is that right? Central time. So I'm in pretty good shape here, and we're good and ready to close out. And I hope that you guys have got something that has been helpful. I've got to close this out. I've got to get in another uniform, and I got to get up and take a shower, get dressed for church. And then I'm going to do the broadcast for this morning. I'm going to be teaching this morning on abiding in Christ Jesus. So hopefully that's what we're going to be. That will be the lesson. So let me get through around about less than an hour from now. I'll be doing the next broadcast. So in this session, you should have had a recipe for your marinated fried chicken, and you should have the recipe for a fried cabbage with bacon, shrimp, and adobo sausage. Okay. All right. Until the next time, I'm Bishop Jones said, if you go with God, I know that he will surely go with you. Have yourself a Jesus-filled day. Bye-bye.